I feel like we're going to laugh a lot.
I know. This is going to be trouble.
And we'll just roll with it.
Just like quick intro of like.
Yeah, it's not even, doesn't have to be anything crazy.
Okay.
Or whatnot. I know it, sometimes it awkwardly starts, but it's fine. It's fine.
It's podcast.
Yeah, you feel like you
They
need to
get
like have
better.
an audience. Like I almost want to like
Yeah.
look into like a live streaming.
Well, that's why I asked if you were recording it, because I thought if you live streamed this like to YouTube or something, like that could be huge.
Yeah, well, they have like live stream cameras that you could log into your accounts on the camera.
And then you have like questions popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll get there one day.
I mean, this is a huge setup already. So.
It's expensive.
Yeah. That's why I'm just going to rent your space when I'm ready.
Yeah. I've had like a little bit of a PTSD moments because of every fucking episode I've done. There's always been something that's gone wrong. Audio's not recording. That fucking fills up and just like, oh, anyways. Okay, well, welcome to the JBR Experience, episode 007.
Dang.
This is the 7th episode. I have my awesome cousin, Traci, on the episode today. Obviously, we go way back. You don't have to look at the camera. It's fine. Okay. She's one of my favorites. She has some stories. She could probably turn into 2 to 3 episodes. She's been through it. She's a veteran as well, and I think that's, probably where we relate the most. I've always said veterans just get each other. And then obviously just kind of growing up together. And then as of recently, I think a lot of people obviously know you for Preston and just the journey you've been on with him and just
absolutely
the miracle he is and the blessing he is. So we'll get into all that
for sure.
But yeah, so if you want to just introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm Traci, mama of 4. I have an awesome 15, 14, 12-year-old, the big kids. And then Preston, most people know me for Preston. He's 5, starting kindergarten in September.
That is
wild,
unreal to think about.
I've reflected a lot on it, like with us doing the podcast, and it's been crazy to think he's going to be 6 in November. So
I can't even.
Feels like yesterday and an eternity all in one. I think that's what's crazy.
And he's so full of life too.
Yeah.
Like he's legitimately like a walking miracle in itself, And we started taking photos of him like right when I moved back.
Yeah.
2 years old, I think, was the first time we did
his Too Legit to Quit pics.
Right there in your house.
We just looked back at him at the cabin last weekend, and it's crazy how far you've come, right, with your photography business. Now this awesome studio. I'm so proud of you.
I appreciate it.
I
kind of look at those photos. I mean, it's cute of him, but it's like
I know you cringed a little bit when I pulled him out, but it's fun to see how far you've come, right? And you've taken us pictures a ton, but it's fun to see like in the last 4 years, like where you've come and this awesome studio. So I'm excited to be here with you and talk and share my story.
We'll just get into it.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't really have any particular questions. I don't want it to be scripted by any means, but I guess you and I have never really legitimately talked about in detail about your service.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
I know.
You've told me bits and pieces and whatnot, but let's kind of just jaunt it back to that, because in all honesty, women serving is it's a very small percentage.
I don't look like a typical service member, especially one that's fought in war, right? Like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, no way.
Well, and just who you are personality wise.
I don't fit the mold.
You're not like rough and tough and around the edges. No. Like you're bubbly, you're happy.
Yeah.
Like you don't fit the typical stereotype.
It's funny with you saying that, I'm so competitive to a fault. And I know that about myself. And I'm like 16 and talking about what I'm going to do. And jokingly, I was like talking to Jeremiah, who unfortunately passed away in the service in Iraq. And I was like, I'm going to join the military. And everyone laughed. They're like, Traci, there's no way. Like, princess, you will not fit in. Like, I had stayed the night at only 2 people's houses in my whole life. And I talked to this recruiter, and he's like, it's like summer camp. Have you ever been to girls' camp? And I'm like, no.
Oh, my gosh.
And, you know, looking back, I'm so stupid. And I'm like, that sounds fun. He's like, oh, just take the ASVAB. And everyone's telling me I'm crazy. And I'm like, as girly gets too, right? And I'm like, oh, I can do this summer camp.
I've had, when I was on recruiting duty, I've had some young ladies that were like girly girl volleyball.
Oh, for sure.
They became Marines and they were studs.
Yeah. Okay. So, I know I couldn't be a Marine. Let's just get that out of the way. I had to go the Army route, which the Army is far superior.
Oh, we're gonna. Oh kidding. My goodness!
But like, I knew I couldn't be a Marine, right? Yeah. And I'd talked to your dad a lot about the Air Force, in that year leading up to joining, because at 16 is when I started telling people, and everyone said, "You'll never make it. You won't make it through boot camp," and there's no way. And I think that's what sparked me. You know, when people tell you can't do it, I'm like, hold my beer. Yeah, watch me. I've got this.
Oh, yeah.
And I talked to your dad a lot about the Air Force and, you know, the Chair Force, and talked to Grandpa about the Navy. And I was trying to decide, because I was going to be the first grandkid to join the military. Where was I going to go?
Yeah, because Justin didn't. Yeah, Justin was doing his football thing and going that route until he got hurt.
And Melissa's never going to join the military, you know. So,
we know that.
So here I am, and Army made sense to me, just with what I wanted to do. Took the ASVAB, scored a 99, right? And I'm just like, see, guys, I can do it. But I mean, a test is a test, right? You don't really know what you're signing yourself up for. So because I was joining at 17, because I enlisted right at 17, I had my parents sign. And I think that, looking back, was so hard to convince my parents. And I'm like, I need this for me. You know my childhood, right? I went through a lot, and I thank God for joining the military, because I wouldn't be here today without it. And I know that.
I say that all the time. It's like the best thing I ever did in my life.
Really? Yeah, that's
joining and just getting out. Yeah.
And I don't think people realize like what comes with it. But I'll tell you a funny story. This is going to make me look horrible, but I'll own it. I finally talked my parents into letting me join the military. I'm so excited, but I've never done anything. Like, I've been in Moses Lake, Washington, tiny little nobody town, right? And so diversity was not in Moses Lake, right? You know that. Yeah. So I get on a plane. I'm headed to basic training.
Was the first time you ever on a plane?
So I'd flown to like California, and
when I shipped out the boot camp, was the first time I ever been on a plane.
No way. Yep. And I went to Australia with my grandma, but I'd never really. It just didn't have much, experience traveling. And I get off the plane in Atlanta, Georgia.
Been there.
Yeah. And I look around, and I'm 17. I barely have left my parents ever. I am clueless, and I look around and I don't see anyone like me. And it was a culture shock. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to go to the McDonald's. I'll see someone like me, right? And I know this sounds so stupid now, 20 years later. Yeah. And still, I didn't have anyone that looked like me. And I go in the bathroom and I just start crying. And I'm like, what did I get myself into?
Realization of like, you're away from home.
Yeah.
Like real world, not small town Moses anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was forced to grow up in that moment. I cried in the bathroom. I called my dad, and my dad's like, well, what did you expect? He's like, it's the military. And I'm like, I'm just at an airport. Yeah. Like, I haven't even made it to the military yet. I still have my phone.
And what year was that? Was that
05?
05. Okay.
Yeah, 2005 is when I went to basic. And so I get off in Atlanta, and then they pick us up and we get shipped to South Carolina. And I get to basic training, and I realize this is not summer camp. This is not.
05 Army.
Yeah.
So much different.
Oh,
than
than
what it
Army
is today.
Yeah. There's stress cards and stuff. You can say, this is too much. I need a break.
Probably got beaten basic.
Oh, I mean, it was rough. They still put their hands on you back then. They spin your face. They called you every name under the sun. And I mean, I'm used to like swearing, but not at me and in my face. And I'm like, what did I get myself into? And I'll never forget, I was the smallest. I was underweight, and I wasn't prepared, right?
Yeah.
And the drill sergeant Washington, I'll never forget her. Love her to death.
She probably just honed in on you.
She said, "Oh, hi, princess," and I knew. I was like, "I'm fucked." Sorry, can I say that?
Yeah, you can cuss on here. Good shit. Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, because everyone told me just middle of the road. You don't want to stand out. Yeah. You don't want to be first. You don't want to be last. You don't want
them to know your name.
But she said, "Oh, hi, princess," and I'm like, uh-oh. And they knew I was underage because there were waivers that I came with, because I wasn't 18 at boot camp, and from that moment on, I knew I was in for a reality check. So basic was interesting.
Yeah. What'd you go in as? What was your MOS?
So military intelligence.
Intelligence, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's even just even from me being a recruiter, that is a hard job field to get into. Just because of like not only a certain ASVAB score, but then I forget what they call it, but certain intel tests you have to take.
Absolutely.
Different screening, intense background checks.
Yeah. I still have my top secret today because of my job.
Yeah.
They still renew it every 3 years.
So like that in itself, like that is a women serving, but then to be down into the intelligence field.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because the stud gals that I put in were intel as well.
Interesting. So you know what? The whole reason I went intel is because I asked, well, what's the easiest job that I'll never deploy? So
the recruiter lied, dude.
Oh, lied like no tomorrow. Joe, I saw.
Intel
I
is
see
like,
you, bro.
You can't deploy without intel.
Yeah. Well, so I'm thinking sitting behind a computer, right?
Oh goodness, yeah.
Fast forward to I make it through basic training. Thank goodness.
Get through all your schooling.
Yep. Get through all my schooling. I'm home. I'm ready to enroll in college because that's my plan. I'm going to do Army and college at the same time. And immediately I get the tap on my shoulder.
Did you do reserves?
So because I was 17, I had to join National Guard. On my 18th birthday, I was going active duty.
Oh,
so I couldn't go active in that year. So the plan was go through training and then go active. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And so I get through training, turn 18, I go active, and immediately
get deployed.
Immediately.
And what year was that? So that was what, 2007?
2007. Yep. I went straight to training. And I went straight
I remember
to Iraq.
that, like, because I was in high school.
Yeah.
I was
gonna say you were junior, right?
Sophomore.
Yeah,
okay. I graduated 2009.
Yeah. I grandpa and grandma took me to the cabin the first weekend of April because
I remember when we would pray for you at the Christmas table and
Yep. Oh,
yeah.
Well, that brings back so many memories. But yeah, and I get to Iraq and I'm the youngest person. They held me in Kuwait because I wasn't old enough to go to country yet. So I'm held in Kuwait for 14 days. Then I get to Iraq and I get a coin from a general, right? Because I'm the youngest person to deploy. Meanwhile, I have no clue what I'm getting myself into. And when I get to Iraq, I found out I'm gonna go work at a prison. Makes sense now in hindsight. And I got to work in a really cool prison with high value detainees. Cool experience, I guess. But I think back to the first, I'd been there about 6 days and we're not in a complete safe zone, but kind of because we need to maintain these prisoners, obviously. Right. We have all the high value detainees. And so we're like 6 days in and all of a sudden mortars come. I have no clue.
Well, yes. I mean, 2007, shit was still popping off.
Oh, it was bad.
It was bad. Those were like the bad years.
Yeah.
Of Iraq and shit.
And it's crazy to think about. Like, I mean, now looking back, because we were going to do this podcast, I should have brought it, but I went back and read my journal. And the very first sentence, it says, you don't realize that nothing matters until every single day could be your last day on earth.
Yeah.
And when I felt those mortars, I felt that. And, you know, we're running to bunkers, we're hiding. We saw a tower get hit. I had friends in that tower. You know, you're watching your friends die, and I'm barely 18. And I'm like, I was a sheltered princess 2 years ago. Like, how did I get here?
And talk about shock and like, I mean, coming from Moses Lake,
yeah,
you know, to being in country.
Yeah. And I was in country for, you know, 20 months.
That's one thing I guess I've never, like, the Army is a big entity, you know. I think between reserve and active, it's 1.5 million personnel or something like that. It's massive. Huge. And so y'all have the ability to sustain these crazy long deployments.
Yeah.
I guess I've never really understood it, but like Marine Corps, we're like designed like 6 months. Like you're doing 6 months rotations. You know what I mean?
And which like, makes sense, right? Because the burnout and like
20 months, like that.
And I was not supposed to do that long. Was supposed to do 12. Then it was 15, and I just kept getting extended. The person who was taking my roles, top secret, didn't pass, so I thought I was coming home, and then the colonel was like, "Hey," and I'm still princess at this time.
And we don't have someone to replace you. Yeah,
exactly. And so they're like, "Hey, we need you to stay," and I'm like, "Damn."
No, I don't want to.
Yeah,
just send me.
Like, do I get an option? They're like, we'll give you an extra $1,000 a month because you're not choosing to be here. And I'm like, well, I make pennies. So what is $1,000 a month going to do?
Were you like an E3?
E4? Well, at this time I was E4 to E5. Yeah. But they made me a corporal at E4 though, so I could be an NCO.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least like when you deploy, it's like tax free and shit.
Yeah.
You know, it's
I
like
guess.
whatever. Right.
And at 18, it's a lot of money, I guess. But
tax free, hazard pay.
Yeah. In hindsight, not paid what you should get paid, but regardless. So it was rough, and I still can't talk about a lot of my job. But I come back to the States after Iraq, and I had horrible PTSD. It was rough, and my mom and dad, we were going to Olive Garden, and I'll never forget, they had given my parents this debriefing. We got 72 hours off. And they're like, she can't drive, she can't have her weapon, she can't, you know, all these rules or whatever. So we're going to Olive Garden, and there's a bag in the middle of the road, and my mom's driving, and I like grab the steering wheel and swerve because I think we're about to die, you know, like
IED stuff.
I still had like all that in my mind, and my mom's like, you need help. And I was like, oh, I'm fine, you know.
Well, it's because you're like, because I've had boys that are ground, you know, units and stuff, and they say the same thing. You look at the world differently.
Oh,
you know, and you're over there for so long, it becomes
that's your
second
life.
Nature, right?
Yeah.
Like, I deployed, but it wasn't boots on ground. But I was on ship for 10 months.
Yeah, so you still have the experience of being away,
and like little things of like on a Navy ship. There's these things called knee knockers or half moons, you know, and you have to step over them every single door you go through. Okay. And so when I got home, I'd walk through the front door, I'd walk through a door, and I would step over, you know.
Yeah.
Like it's just weird. Your body gets programmed into these weird fucking schedules.
Oh, for sure.
Alertness and weird shit.
Well, and like I'm driving fast. I'm having all these issues. I got 19 tickets in 1 month.
Because you just want to get from point A to point B as fast as you can.
Because I was scared. Yeah. You know, like I'm like, I was scared of people. I was scared of things. And you don't recognize it. Because to me, they're like, oh, you have PTSD. And I'm like, no, I don't. I'm taking Ambien to sleep. Like anything to get through a night, to get rid of the nightmares. Because I saw some crap that I don't wish my worst enemy to ever have seen, you know? Yeah. And then I'm finally coming out of deployment mode, and then I had a job.
That could take, 6 months to a year to like decompress and like.
And I wish they give you that time, especially coming home from a war zone. But I went right into training. I started training sailors on them deploying to take over the prison in Iraq. And then we built a makeshift prison on Fort Lewis, and we were training people to go to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba. So they're like, hey, princess, it's your turn to go to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, right? So then I start doing cycles at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, and that's a whole different world. Like, we saw the worst of the worst in Iraq with people trying to kill us, where Gitmo is the worst of the worst with people who do not care that they're there. They're going to riot. They're going to throw their semen on you, their crap on you. Like, I was getting HIV tested all the time, right? Like,
oh my God.
You go from like, am I going to die because of a mortar or because these guys want to kill me? Or am I going to die because these riots are insane, you know? And you just don't think about it. And I think for me, in hindsight, like, I didn't have time to decompress from Iraq before I was in Guantanamo Bay.
And what's weird about like the military in general is like this is just normal shit.
Oh,
like,
yeah, every day.
You think when you're in on active duty, like it's just this is life. Yeah, but then when you get out, like you're like, that's not fucking normal.
No.
The always on, the stress, the always on edge, or you know, like that is not normal life.
No, and
like,
and when you're working with detainees, the training they put you through is insane.
Yeah.
And depending on your job, it's even more intense, right? So like, I went to SEER school, and it's not easy, not fun, you know. And I went to airborne school and all that. That was great, but you know, I look back and I'm like, how did I do this? And I still wonder, like, how the person that I was at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, when I'm doing all these things, like, because I turned 19 in country, I turned 20 in country, you know, like when you're having these huge moments that you're supposed to be a kid, but you're having to be an adult, it's hard, you know, and you don't think about it because that's life. So military is interesting.
It makes you fucking grow up.
Yeah.
Like, whether you're on board or not. I mean.
Yeah. And I look at it today, like, I don't know that I was ready to grow up, but I'm so thankful I did, because I like I said, I wouldn't be here today. Like, I wouldn't have had the life that I've had up to this point.
Well, I sit there and I guess what comes to my mind is like all that stuff, you know. Alec talks about it a lot, you know, God and grit, you know, having grit in life, but like experiencing what you did, in my mind and eyes, almost prepared you for the life you're living now with Preston and how strong you are in that.
I wholeheartedly agree.
You know?
Absolutely. I think if it wasn't for what I went through then, I would not have made it through what I'm going through now.
Yeah.
And what
I've told you that before. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think that, you know, because it's like we were up at the cabin, you know, this past weekend, and it's like alarm goes off. I'm like, is he like?
Everyone,
but you're just like, slap him on the butt. You're good, bro.
Yeah, like, it's just, you're good. Wipe it off.
Oh my gosh.
And it's funny because those alarms, right? To me, I've gotten accustomed to them. I know what I'm listening for, but like that alarm saves his life every time.
Right, but it's just like watching you and Kevin, like, just yeah. I don't know how to explain it. It's like it's not that you like. I guess you guys are just so in tune with it. Yeah. You know, you've been doing it for so long. I get it. It's repetition. It's muscle memory in a sense. But like from someone that's not around that, you're like, holy fuck, he just disconnected his thing. Like,
yeah,
you know, like
well, and it's funny. I'd left him at the top of up at the cabin, and I was grabbing stuff from the boat, and Brittany's like, I just saved his life. And I'm like, yeah, yes, you did. Actually,
I've done that 27 times today.
Yeah. I'm like, if I leave him out here for a few more minutes, it's going to happen a couple more times.
Yeah.
But 100%. And I've been reflecting a lot on the last 6 years, because I am finally at the point where I'm ready to go back to work. And, can I back up a little bit?
Yeah.
And okay, so a little bit about Preston.
Well, yeah. So let's kind of go to that. I mean, we've talked about him, but yeah. So like, talk about how.
Yeah. You know, so I always wanted a fourth baby, and I was sure I wanted a fourth baby. It took a lot of convincing, but did IVF, got my fourth baby. Right. Everything's perfect. 23 weeks pregnant. I'm living my perfect life with work. Like, success was, I've moved at this point 3 times with my career. I was at the height of my career with Aerotech. Couldn't have been happier. And I'm just driving down the road, and somebody hits me from behind. Well, I was actually stopped. There was bad traffic. I lived in El Paso, Texas at the time. I was on the Americas Bridge, of all bridges. which is a bridge that heads into Mexico. But I was taking the last exit to the right to head to a hospital. And I had Apsity with me. And I'm at a dead stop because there was traffic getting into Mexico. So it was backing up all the traffic. And this lady on her cell phone going 65 miles an hour up an on-ramp just plows into me. It was such a big impact that it tore my placenta and abrupted 97%. So I'm bleeding out on the side of the road and I have no idea what's happening. There's
bleeding internally.
Yeah. And the way, thank God, the way Preston was positioned, my blood stayed in me, which then, because he was only connected 3%, he was able to keep that connection and it didn't completely abrupt because we both would have died. So by the grace of God, we had 3% that kept us both alive. And it's crazy to think about, you know?
Wow. Did you immediately get rushed to the hospital?
I did. Yep. So I was rushed to the hospital, and they were like, "Okay, we got to try to keep him in as much as we can. We need to get some answers." He couldn't stay in. Did an emergency C-section.
At 23 weeks.
23 weeks.
I thought it was 26, but...
Yeah, 23 weeks and 4 days.
Good Lord.
My doctor, though, so in the state of Texas, they said they cannot do life-saving measures under 24 weeks gestation. We knew exactly how far along I was because I did IVF, right? Like, you know, to the day. Like, when that embryo is implanted, you're 4 weeks pregnant.
Yeah.
So my doctor was like, we're going off your last menstrual period, and changed my due date so that life-sustaining measures could happen for Preston. If my doctor wasn't willing to do that, Preston wouldn't be here today.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm very thankful.
So they removed Preston via C-section?
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
He weighed less than a pound.
Yeah. Like.
Yep. He was 11 inches, so he was kind of long. But my hand covered his whole body with just his little head showing. And I mean, these are his fingerprints at 6 weeks old, right?
Yeah.
Like, crazy to think about.
Gosh.
So yeah, he was under a pound. He's 11 inches, and they intubate him. They didn't realize they created a hole in his esophagus when they intubated him. They were doing everything they could to save his life.
He's tiny.
And we were taken to the nearest hospital, so that's not necessarily the best neonate hospital.
Right.
And so when they put a feeding tube in at 4 days old, they put it down, it went into that hole and collapsed his lungs. So that's part of the reason why his lungs are so bad today.
Damn.
We were transferred at 5 days to a hospital that specialized in neonates. And yeah, that's where our adventure with Preston started. So he was due in March and he was born November 14th.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy to think about, right? Like, and I look back now and
he's had such a fight.
Over 100 surgeries. He's had full cardiac arrest, heart stop, everything, more than 22 times for more than 30 minutes.
And it's like every time he has something go on, he's getting life flighted.
Oh, yeah. Like, life flight's our best friend at this point. Like,
it's like you guys...
We know them all.
You know the pilots. You're like, what's up, dog? Like,
absolutely. We know the Pullman team, the Spokane team. Yeah. We know them all.
Which is, I mean, like, it's, I guess it's a double-edged sword because it's like, that sucks that it has to get there, but it's also when you've built a relationship like that.
Oh, for sure.
They're going to do their job no matter what.
But it's different.
Yes.
It is very different. Yes. And, you know, I lived in Texas at the time. We moved to Michigan, and then I realized I needed the support of my family. Mm-hmm. I was by myself, so I moved to Washington. And moving to Washington with a complex kid is rough.
Yeah, because at this time, because Caleb is still active duty.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And
so we moved to Michigan for Caleb's job.
Right. Yeah.
And then I ultimately decided it was in my best interest to leave.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
and thank God that he's still active duty because of
the insurance.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. people joke, they're like, oh, I have $1 million baby. Well, I have a baby that's cost
Almost
over $100 million
I thought
before his first birthday.
I was gonna say he's close to $1 billion.
Yeah, we're
isn't he? Like,
the last time I looked, it was right before his 4th birthday, and we were at $600 million in medical bills.
oh my gosh.
Yeah. $600 million. And that's 4th birthday. We still have 2 birthdays since then. He's had 3 cardiac arrests since then, right? Like, so it is kind of humorous to think about.
Got $1 billion baby.
Yeah. He'll be $1 billion baby before he's 8, probably.
Oh my gosh. And then so it is just a caveat, but like out of that much money, out of pocket expenses annually, roughly.
So it was worse in the beginning that what we were paying, but on average, probably like $25,000 a year. Still not easy, right?
Okay, but in retrospect,
yeah. There's still some like stuff that comes outside of that, but it's been pretty average at about $25,000.
I think I'd rather pay $25,000 than
than $600 million. Could you imagine?
Holy shit!
But I look back to when Preston was like 8 days old, and they called me and they said, you need to plan his funeral. He wasn't supposed to live 24 hours. And this is where the military piece really, really ties in. And he's eight days old. We get a call and they said, Preston just had another cardiac arrest. We don't think we're going to get him back. And I thank God was still at the hospital at that point, because I rush in and I'm like,
the specialized hospital that you're at.
Yeah. And I'm like, you will not stop cardiac arrest until I say you're stopping cardiac arrest. The doctor looked at me and he said, you're fucking crazy. Your son is brain dead and we're going to stop. You are being selfish. And I said, I do not care how selfish I am. You are going to do cardiac or CPR until I believe my son is truly brain dead. But it hasn't been proven to me yet. And
because look at him.
Yeah. He's as far from brain dead as you can get.
He's got that. He's walking,
he's
running, he's got attitude. Like if he could talk, I could just imagine him be like,
he'd tell all of us off.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine? Yeah.
No. But that's why I say like miracles. Like, I mean, oh my gosh.
And I went home that night. Because the NICU, we could only be there certain hours. And I laid in bed and I called my parents. And I don't ever talk about this, but I called my parents and I'm like, Preston's not going to live. And the only thing I thought about was, how do I get him home to Washington when he dies? Because I need to be able to go see my child. Like, how do you mourn and grieve your child if they're in another state? Because I knew I wasn't staying in El Paso. Yeah. And I've never shared this, but my dad reached out to somebody and had a like specialized like casket thing made, and my dad was going to transport Preston's body from Texas to Washington, because I didn't realize it is so much work to transfer
human remains across state lines.
Yeah. And the cost
you gotta have permits.
It was like they were like likely looking at like $125,000. I'm like, to move my child's body, and my dad, and I was like, I'll pay whatever I need to pay, but so I'm like thinking about planning a funeral, and they're not wanting to code him anymore. And so my dad thankfully had a plan and started working on a plan, and my mom came out and I laid in bed and I cried and I said, I'm going to kill myself. Never in my life have I ever planned to kill myself. That's not me, and I know I couldn't have made it through that without certain people. Corey flew in to be there by my side. My mom and dad each flew in. I had my kids, and I did have a lot to live for, because I have these 3 older kids that need me. But at the same time, I knew mentally, they say God will only give you what you can handle. I knew I couldn't handle losing a child.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the fact that you knew you wanted to forth the IVF.
We spent a lot of money to have Preston.
The planning, it's everything that.
Yeah. And the emotional toll of IVF, nobody talks about that. Yeah. I had no clue the emotional toll. So my body's still going through that emotional toll, and like, just all everything.
Well, and the crazy thing too to think about is at Preston, 8 days old, 2 weeks, whatever, he's still technically supposed to be
inside
in the
of
womb.
me. Yeah.
Right. Which then your body knows that.
Mm-hmm.
And so I couldn't imagine all of the hormonal changes and, you know what I mean?
The hormones
on top of that.
crushed. And I just kept being like, I was supposed to protect this child that I prayed for and longed for and wanted so bad. And having 3 healthy kids, then I'm feeling like, was I selfish to want a 4th kid, right? So then I start spiraling.
Guilty and guilt and
yeah, and now I can look back and say, like, Preston was the biggest blessing to my life. Back then, I was a wreck, but I was so focused on success. I was so focused on winning. I was so focused on my career that
I think it regrounded you
100%. Mm-hmm. And it made me realize, like, there's more to life than money.
You were a workaholic.
Oh, I was traveling every week, 48 weeks of the year, Tuesday to Friday. I worked all the time, but I loved the success. You know, like, it fueled me.
But at a certain level of success, there's always something that falters.
Yeah.
There's always something that falls. And I've talked about that many times of, like, I was the same way in the Marine Corps, and I put everything above
family.
Yep. Everything. My career, trying to get promoted, because it meant making more money, which then supported the family better.
And you think you're doing it for your family, you know,
your family falters.
Yeah. Hindsight is 2020. Mm-hmm. And I remember Absidy and Carter especially when he was young, he'd be like, Mom, do you have to work? And he would, like, start putting his stuff in my suitcase because I traveled all the time. I'm like, buddy, I couldn't buy you all these things that you have if I didn't work this much. And he's like, can we sell my things? Oh my God. And in the moment, right, like, in hindsight, I'm like, I think I needed Preston because it has given me the last 5 years to be able to parent my children.
Yep.
And the memories I've created with them, it has been very hard. And Preston takes a lot from them, no question.
But watching them,
they love him.
Yes, that's like how good they are with him, how attentive they are with him. They help you.
Oh, for sure.
You know, as hard as it all is, it's still very unique and special to see.
Yeah.
Like, seriously.
Thank you.
It is.
It means a lot. I love all my children so much. And, you know, I'm so great. I couldn't imagine losing any of them. I don't want to imagine. And I think that's why it was so hard for me. But again, like, those moments of trials, like, I was surrounded by the right people. And I did have the experience of Iraq to look back on, and the experience of feeling like, you know, it could be worse. I don't know what's worse, but I know it could be worse, you know.
Everything could always be worse.
And it took me a bit to pull myself out of a really dark place. And also, I'm putting everything into Preston. Mm-hmm. So I'm not worried about me. And I think what I want to do better and what I've tried to do for other moms with special needs kids is remind them, like, you do have to take care of yourself. Yeah. And that is easily forgotten.
You kind of lose yourself.
Oh,
you know,
I had lost myself completely for a few years, you know, because everything I had, I was pouring into Preston and then making my other kids know how much I love them too. You know what I mean? And trying to make them a priority while also trying to make him a priority. And, you know, it's like this tug of war.
And everything that you kind of had passion for, your leisures
is gone.
All of it.
We traveled all the time, me and the kids. Like, we did so much stuff, and now we're, like, grounded to not being able to travel at all. Well, at that point, like, we're going to.
It's getting better.
Yes,
because Preston's getting stronger and
doing a lot better.
Yeah.
But for the last 5 years, it's been rough, you know, and my whole identity, and it is very interesting to look back on, my whole identity was my career.
Yeah.
Everything everything revolved around my career. And people would be like, oh, you're such a great mom. And I'm like, oh, I'm a great mom because I work. I would be a horrible stay-at-home mom. Like, I always said that. Like, my kids love me because I'm gone, you know? And now in hindsight, I've been there every day for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But I had to learn how to be a stay-at-home mom. It's not easy. It is rough.
I tell Katie that all the time. I don't know how any of y'all women do the stay-at-home mom thing, to be able to like take care of the home, the kids, to run the house, I mean, everything that y'all do. I couldn't do it.
Well, I didn't think I could either. Luckily, I found a way, but I'm also ready to go back to work, right? So there's that fine line. But again, like, now in hindsight, I think the Lord gave me Preston the way he is solely because I needed a reset. I needed to be grounded.
Reset of priorities.
I needed to reset my priorities. I needed to be a mom first, and I needed to find myself. It's a
pretty drastic, intense way to do it, but
yeah. And
what else was going to?
There could have been an easier way, but I'm so stubborn. I don't think an easier way would have.
I was gonna say, what else was gonna do it?
Nothing.
Yeah.
Like nothing. And I think now I just try to look at the positives, but when you look at, and I think this is why it correlates so much in my head. Like, for me, every day in Iraq could have been my last, and for Preston, every day can be his last. Like, he is on complete life support. He's not going to get off complete life support. We know that, at least at night. There's a chance that maybe one day, with miracles and the right surgeries, he'll be able to,
as medicine advances. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. But the part of his brain that's damaged because he's had 3 strokes during these cardiac arrests, like, the part of his brain that's damaged is a part that holds like the central apnea part of your brain, so it tells you to breathe when you're sleeping, and his is completely damaged, so he'll never know to take a breath if he's asleep.
But if he's awake,
then he does know how to take breaths while he's awake. His lungs don't expand enough at this point, but he's still small. He still has a lot of growing to do. So that's the hope that I hold on to. Yeah. And also, I remember doctors don't know everything. They gave him 24 hours to live, and they told me he was brain dead.
They said he was going to be a vegetable. He'll never walk. Yep. He'll never be able to communicate.
He'll never sit. He'll never
do anything.
Yeah,
he's
will never
doing
hold
everything the doctor said he couldn't.
He would never hold his head up, and it's funny. We just met with our neurologist last week, and she's like, it's so crazy because a lot of kids, you look at their medical records and it's like, oh, it's not that bad. And then you look at them and they're like, oh, they're really bad. And they're like, with Preston, it's the opposite. You look at his medical records. Oh, thousands. And I have his medical records from the first hospital. We were there 5 days before we transferred. 27,000 pages is what they printed to give me. 5 days of medical records. 27
we're coming up on 6 years.
1,000 pages. So I have no idea, right? Thank God it's digital, but yeah,
what exactly does, like, current day, what exactly does he have? Like, if, diagnoses, like.
So he has about 3 pages of actual diagnoses. The main ones that I think really affect him today is he has bronchial pulmonary hypertension, which restricts his lungs. He has cerebral palsy from the strokes.
I knew that.
The cool thing about Preston is most kids have cerebral palsy. They have high tone, and he's low tone. So meaning high tone, people are like contractured, so you'll see them like stuck up like this and not able to move their arms without like breaking a limb. Wow. He's low tone, so struggles to gain muscle mass. And struggles to be able to maintain that muscle mass. That's why they said he'd never walk. But repetition can create muscle. It's just going to be a lot harder for him.
I knew he wore braces for a long time.
Correct. Yep. And it'll be harder for him to gain muscle mass. But
he freaking runs.
Bro is fast. Like, it is incredible.
I've always like you're chasing around with this little vent.
Oh, it's horrible.
My God.
And now his new thing that he started at the cabin last week, I was like, oh my gosh, he started lifting it up and carrying it himself, and it weighs 14 pounds. And I'm like, this kid weighs.
Eventually, you're just gonna put a backpack on.
I can't wait.
And he's gonna
go
self-sustain.
It's gonna be rough, but he's gonna go. So
yeah.
we did like make this contraption at school to where we like tie it to him to where it's on like a wheeled thing, and so he can just go on his own without us holding his vent. But he only tolerates it so long because it's like pretty restrictive.
Right. So cerebral palsy.
Yeah.
And then
BPD. One of his big ones is tracheal and bronchial malaise. So that
was his breathing stuff.
So what that is it's basically a weakening in muscles. So his airway all the way into the branches of his lungs completely close, and he doesn't have the strength to open them. It is like soft tissue that never developed. And so it stays closed.
I mean, at 23 weeks, like
correct.
There's so much development that still has to be done.
Yeah. And he still had like, and that the doctors, cause we had said he was 25 weeks, so they'd do the life-saving measures. One of the doctors had checked his brain, and they're like, there's no way he's 25 weeks because he still has holes in his brain that haven't yet developed that would have developed by 24 weeks.
The difference of a week.
Yeah. And it is crazy. I did not realize they gave me a book every day in gestation. What a difference it makes.
I have always said having a baby is a miracle in itself.
Oh,
just because of, I mean, Preston's a very extreme
absolutely
case.
Yeah, but any baby,
right? But just to have a baby that's healthy, that is born on time. There's so many things that could go wrong.
Oh, 100%.
And it's like, yeah.
I think we don't think about it and realize it because I didn't realize.
I'm just gonna have a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have 3 healthy ones. They're fine. Perfect. Why would I not have a 4th one that's just as healthy and just as perfect, right?
Mm-hmm.
And doing IVF, we had done all the genetic testing, so we knew genetically he was perfect. We knew there was nothing wrong with him.
The car accident wouldn't have happened.
Yep. And so I was angry for a very long time. And the worst part about it is she left and drove into Mexico.
Oh, my God.
So it's all been on me, right? My car insurance, my health insurance. And I was very angry for that piece for a long time. I've learned to let it go. But I think that's part of why I cycled into that, like, depressed state. But yeah, cerebral palsy, the Malaysia, he has a lot of GI issues, which makes sense. There's like 14 different diagnoses, but your GI tract develops way later in your gestational growth. And so he can't eat in his stomach at all. Everything goes straight into his intestines. He doesn't know how to digest food. And so that's been hard to learn. He's never eaten anything by mouth.
It's always been feeding tube.
Oh, yep. And the feeding tube in his stomach doesn't work because he just will throw it up and then it ends up in his lungs because he has aspirations with all the lung issues.
So does it goes in above his stomach and then travels down, or does it go after?
After. So the way so he has a feeding tube that goes into his stomach, and then there's like 30 centimeters that they weave through his stomach into his intestines, and it's fed in the jejunum. So past the digestive tract into like later when you're digesting your food. So he's never known what it feels like to be hungry. He's never known what it feels like to be full, right? Like he's never had anything in his stomach.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then, so yeah, he has a slew of GI stuff. And then he has a hydrocephalus, which is you know, the metal thing on his head that like sticks out that people are like, what's this? So his brain with the strokes and the brain bleeds was filling with fluid, whether it was blood or just liquid, and it never resolved itself. And so he has a shunt in his brain that takes that fluid down into his abdomen, and then his body will absorb it, and it keeps his brain safe. But his brain was like, had so much pressure on it that
I remember when that was happening.
Yeah, his skull's here, his brain's here, and all this was blood around it. And normally they only see that in child abuse cases. So that was a disaster in itself. Like, it now in hindsight, I understand it, but back then I didn't. It looks just like shaken baby syndrome
Oh shit.
when you look at an MRI.
Dang.
Thankfully, he had only been in the hospital, so
Yeah.
we knew,
Right.
you know.
Right.
But like, you know, if you don't have the knowledge on hydrocephalus, that that can cause a bunch of questions, you know, and so yeah, he has a whole slew of diagnoses, but those are the big ones that really impact him day to day. And the fact that his lungs just don't fully expand. So his pressures are like twice what we put in. His pressures with his vent are twice what you and I would breathe in.
Just to get them to expand.
Correct.
Yeah.
Even though they're so small, there's so much pressure against them, and they just are so flappy that the amount of pressure to open those lungs up and close those lungs, it takes a lot.
Yeah. My dad had to have a cough assist machine and all that stuff because his inability to deflate and expand his lungs later.
Yeah, cough assists are amazing. Yeah, you know, to really be able to clear that out. But yeah, he's had heart surgery, brain surgery, stomach surgery, you name it. He's had surgery on it.
I know. I feel like he does a stint of like doing okay.
Yep.
Of 4 or 5 weeks.
Yep.
And then something's coming up. Like
I think that's what was really hard this last cardiac arrest that happened in January. Preston had been stable for 18 months.
That was probably the longest.
The longest his whole life. No cardiac arrests. Oxygenating great. And just in a good place. And then
I remember you posting about it.
Yeah. There was... So he got cut in surgery in December. We didn't realize it in his airway. Happens, right? Risk of surgery. We sign the papers all the time. Yeah. And the blood was seeping into his lungs. So the blood hardened around his lungs. We know this now. At the time, we didn't know what was happening. The blood hardened around his lungs. So his ventilator, even with all that pressure, stopped being able to inflate his lungs.
Because the blood like cauterized and got hard. And
yep. Yep, over 6 weeks, and we had no idea. And so his lungs stopped being able to fully expand and collapsed, and then his body got tired. He stops being able to breathe great, even with the vent, so his heart stopped. So I'm doing CPR. I'm not understanding what's happening because I should be able to do CPR and bag him and get his lungs to expand. And I'm using every power I have at home to bag at 10 liters, which is a lot. Like, you never would want to bag that much. It can blow a lung. But I'm doing full bags at 10 liters and his lungs aren't moving. And thank God for Travis. He has been our lifesaver and our hero. And it's
a good man right there.
I'm going to get emotional. I cannot be more thankful for Travis and his family. He wasn't even working that day. Yep. He heard the call.
Knew it was you.
Him and Brittany were on the couch, and he's like, "It's Preston. I got to go." And what an amazing spouse. She's fully supportive. Like, if your wife and husband are home, like, you want them to be home with you. They're off. Yeah. And she didn't even bat an eye and was like, go.
And he was the first one there, huh?
Yep. And he was off work. Yep. And he's there. He's helping. And Vanessa Razzo, Blanca's my best friend growing up. Her niece was the first paramedic on scene. And they bagged him with 25 liters of oxygen. Unheard of. And finally, his lungs started opening and closing. And then his heart came back.
Oh, my God.
And you
I mean, in that moment, were you feeling like I hate to say this, but like, were you feeling like, fuck,
I'm gonna be honest, Jeremy,
this is
the first time since Preston was over 6 months old that I thought I lost him. I handed a dead baby off because I couldn't help, and I've always been able to help him. And I ran to the back of my house, and it's just me and Xander in the house, and my heart's broken for Xander for this today. And I'm screaming, "Lord, please let my baby live. I can't live without him." And I'm on my knees and I'm just screaming out because there's no way my child's going to live. And I just knew he looked tired. He looked like he had given up. And I didn't blame him because his life has been so hard.
It's been yeah.
But in that moment when I couldn't bring him back, I knew no one could. And I just like held on to Travis and I was like, please save my child. And sorry. And Xander was asleep and he woke up to me screaming, don't let my baby die. He's dead. Don't let my baby die. And Kevin came flying in and came to be with Xander, and I'm taken to the hospital, and Absidy's pulling up as all this is happening. My dad's pulling up because people, call us and they're like, ambulance, something's wrong, And my dad sees me and I'm like, Dad, he's gone. And it's, like I said, the first time that I felt that. And I wouldn't have blamed Preston, obviously, but he was tired. And I didn't know what was going on in his body. And when he opened his eyes, Travis yelled, he's like, Traci, he's moving. His eyes are open. And Travis, and I'm a wreck. I was I think on the ground in my driveway at this point. Preston's in an ambulance because it was so bad they wanted him away from me to try to save him.
Yeah.
And Travis is like, he's moving. I'm going to go take him his blanket because everyone knows Preston's got to have his blanket. Mm-hmm. And I get there and he still looked rough, but I knew he was going to be okay. Fuck. And
did they life flighted him? Yeah. Obviously, right?
Yep.
To Seattle.
We went to Spokane and then we went to Seattle.
Yeah.
We have half of our specialists now in Spokane and half in Seattle, and no one really knew what was going on, and he needed to get to a big hospital fast.
At that point in time, they had to do discovery surgery, because I know Preston has had a lot of that.
Yeah.
Where there's probably been so many instances with doctors that we don't know until we go in.
Yep.
Or the purely discovery.
Correct.
Which is
he's had more discovery surgeries than you would even think are possible.
So did that turn into one of those to try to find out what the hell?
It did. It turned into surgery, and then it turned into scopes, where they put scopes down his airway. And then when they did that, I was bedside, and they kept being like, I think he's going to be okay. We're at Seattle at this point. I think he's going to be okay. I think we got it figured out. And I'm like, I don't know. There's something going on in his airway because I've been seeing blood, And so they go and scope him, and they get halfway down with the scope, and there's blood everywhere. They didn't even make it to his lungs at that point. And there's so much blood everywhere that they took him in for emergent surgery to do
that blood
a
was
clean
coming
out.
From where?
Upper in his airway. He had been cut
during surgery that you didn't know about.
In December.
That's right.
Correct, yeah.
That's
and
right.
So it was coming from upper, and it was bleeding down. And it was just a small trickle, but over 6 weeks,
time.
And how small he is, a small trickle is all it takes. So they did emergency surgery, cleaned out his lungs, got all that blood out. Well, there was still some. We shortened his trach so that the part that was cut wouldn't keep getting aggravated. And thankfully, he's okay. But I replay that day in my head.
Out of all the years, out of all the, you know what I mean? Even down to the first few hours or days of life.
Yeah.
Where that would have made more sense.
Absolutely.
You know what I
mean?
This
one made no sense to me.
And obviously, I'm not you. I haven't walked that path,
yeah.
But I feel like mentally, you probably would have been able to process that, in the beginning.
In hindsight, absolutely.
Right, because you're like, okay.
He really didn't have a big chance, anyways.
Exactly.
They gave us he had 0% chance.
It's been 5 years up,
and he'd been stable for a year and a half.
And he's been so good for the longest he's been. He's functioning. He's running. He's personality. So I totally.
He's counting. He's doing all these things, and so
I totally understand on how hard.
Yeah.
I feel like you're that at that moment, you're legitimately losing your baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like versus
Well, and you have to think, I wasn't even allowed to touch him until he was 5 weeks old because his skin would just fall
yeah,
off,
because
you
it's
know?
so thin.
So I never even held him until, like he's coding and I'm wanting to hold him. I'm begging and they're like, no, he won't
You
live
can't.
through transferring.
Yeah.
So, like,
It,
even though in the moment I would have had a very hard time, I would have had an understanding of what happened and I would have got it. But January, after seeing my kid run and play and
yeah.
love hockey and go to all the hockey
So
games
different.
and, just be so full of life,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could have handled that. And I, like I said, when I handed him over, I feel like it was yesterday. My arms were like this, head on each side, a lifeless
It
body,
just
and because they were like,
dead
Tracy,
weight.
can we take him? We
Yeah.
need to take him to save him. At this point,
Mm-hmm.
we and I was like, yes, please save my
Yeah.
baby, and I hear like my blood curdling scream in my head over and over again.
I can't imagine like what Xander. Oh
And
fuck.
my heart breaks for him, because then I'm rushed to the hospital and he's left home alone. Kev got there, took him, and he was a wreck. And he got to the hospital, and at that point, Preston's eyes are open. He's moving. Um,
Where were Absidy and Carter at the?
Absidy was at volleyball, and Carter was at wrestling. So Absidy's friend's mom pulls up to drop her off, sees the ambulances, turns around and took her to her house,
God
thankfully.
bless. Yeah.
Because otherwise she would have seen it all because Preston was being wheeled out when they pulled up. And she kept her for the night, which I was so thankful for.
Mm-hmm.
And then Carter was at wrestling. He got a call from his friend that lives down the road and said something bad's happening at your house. And so when Kevin got here, he got both of them.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful, but
And that was January of
this
this
year,
year. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Ugh.
And I think what's hard is, I'm on all these pages with like moms of trach babies and I'm, seeing their experiences and hearing their experiences. And Preston is a lot sicker than a lot of the kids on these pages medically. But developmentally, he's way further along. And
Mm-hmm.
I all the time I see stories of like my child passed away in the middle of the night and my child didn't make it through that, and I'm just like, it's my turn. It is my turn.
Just like waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, and
Yeah.
and I just now now it's been what month? 7 months, 6 months, 6 months later. We just met with neuro last week. They did a full MRI because we're seeing some effects from what happened in January. 20 minutes without oxygen to your brain is hard.
Mm-hmm.
They're worried about a stroke. And he's had 3. And we looked, and his left side is pretty weak. He's struggling to walk as well. He's walks and runs,
Right.
but we see a difference in how he's
Mm-hmm.
like pulling his left leg, and it's interesting because we so May 1st we did an MRI to look at the brain damage because we're fully expecting it to be horrible based on everything that happened.
Right.
And there's just a little more. And it's
Like,
on the right side of his brain under a shunt. We can't see the full details, but he didn't have a stroke. No clue how. And it is reassuring because his brain continues to make new pathways. And he's showing us like, I'm meant to be here. Don't ever stop. Don't give up on me. I don't care if it takes an hour to do CPR, make them, because his brain is there and his heart is
I just
so
think
strong.
that's what is the most incredible thing about all of it is like, oh jeez. I've said it so many times and I'll always say it. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you make it through because I just watch simple videos online of like as a dad, as a
Yeah.
parent, you naturally want to help your kids.
Yeah.
if they're in pain or whatever, and there's to feel helpless. Like when your baby's got a simple flu and is sick and they can't, like when Oakley's sick, she can't talk and communicate it, and you feel horrible, and you're just like, you just want to heal them. You just want to fix them. Yeah. Like if I could just take the sickness out of their body and just give it to me.
Absolutely.
Right. Like if you could just take all of Preston's, struggles away.
Yeah. I would die tomorrow if it gave him a perfectly healthy life without batting an eye, because as a parent, it's your children. Like you love them with all you have. Like speaking of Oakley, oh my gosh, her playing with Preston was the cutest thing. I cannot get over her smile. Oh, I love her so much.
She's obsessed with kids.
Yeah.
And babies.
I think in her mind, Preston's still a baby, even though he's bigger than her by a little bit.
Yeah.
But like,
she thinks if she sees a kid that is the same size,
baby.
Baby.
Well, and I call Preston a baby too, because he's gonna be my baby forever. But just seeing Oakley play with him and like how much she's grown in the last even 6 months,
She'll be 2 in October.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
2 in October. Preston will be 6 in November. Time for you to have another baby.
We're actually gonna.
I know.
We're gonna start. We've talked about it.
I'm so excited. Katie's like, I need a summer of fun, and I'm like, okay.
That's what she said.
I'll give you fall.
Summer to not be pregnant.
I don't blame her. You know, but so. I don't think they get cuter than Oakley.
Yeah,
you better hope for a boy.
She wants a boy. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you better hope for a boy.
I don't know if I could do 3 daughters. That's.
I laugh because having 4 kids. I have 3 boys. Absolutely love her to death. She is my princess. But I couldn't have another girl. Like girls are hard. Mm-hmm. They have, and Oakley has the sass that Absolutely had times 10. I think.
She's feral. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
well, I mean, so fast forward to that was January. That was the last like real
big thing
scare.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward today. Obviously, we just got done with the cabin trip last weekend, and seeing him, he was great. High spirits.
Absolutely.
Like, I think that's the best I've seen him, and just the most attitude I've seen him have.
He's a stinker now.
The most personality I think I've seen him have. Him throwing his blanket off the boat. You guys coming like
twice in 1 minute.
Like it's.
And he thought it was hilarious to make Uncle Scott stop the boat and go back and get his blanket.
And I think that's what's like really, that blows my mind, because it's like knowing the full story of how he came into the world. Mm-hmm. To where he's literally defying everything that was ever set forth of him, to include being alive.
Absolutely.
Set aside the walking and the communicating and being interactive and smiling and have a personality.
His personality.
But just being alive is a miracle. His smile is
it lights up a room
else.
For sure. And the feedback I've given to other parents in like a similar situation with a handicapped child or medically complex is the doctors know what the doctors know, and he wouldn't be here without them. But at the end of the day, like, love this child, help them, just show up for them, and they're gonna develop. Push them like you would push any other kid. Yeah. Like I've fought to make sure Preston is in a traditional kindergarten class, because why not? Why does he need to be in a handicap room?
And what's even more unique about that too is other kids his age need to learn from him.
Absolutely.
And be exposed to him.
Absolutely.
And Preston will be challenged, and he's going to develop around from those kids,
And that for me is what's so huge. And parents, and this is to all parents out there, like, if your child is asking questions about another child, don't tell them not to ask it, because that is where the stigma is coming. Yeah. Because all the time I'll see a child looking or questioning or pointing, and then a mom will be like, shh, don't.
It's rude.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
And as a medical mom, I'm going to tell you, please let your child ask. Yeah. Because I would rather educate your child than create the stigma that handicapped kids are different. And that is my
That's
biggest piece of advice
Mm-hmm.
to all parents. And and I think back to it, if when I'm running around with my kids, I probably did the exact same thing. But in hindsight, you're creating that stigma. You're creating that child's different. Another kid doesn't see the difference.
No.
They just are like, what is that? And they ask, and I show them. I pull his vent off and show him this is how he breathes. And then they have an understanding, and then he's no longer different.
He's just one of them.
Yeah, and he can play with them just the same.
Yep.
You know, Ezra being at the cabin, the 3-year-old.
Oh yeah.
From the UK, pretty fun. But he's at that age where he had a lot of questions, you know, and then as soon as I answered the questions, they played great. And so that's just my one ask to all parents is, please don't, from one medical mom to another, like, please do not tell your kid not to look, not to ask questions, because that's where the stigmas are coming from. And just let them ask and be inquisitive.
Kids are naturally curious anyways.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's how you learn.
Yeah, they're going to ask why you have a beard.
Yeah.
You know, like it's normal. But
when you even see kids developing, like they're touching, they're feeling, you're learning, right? Like that's how life is.
Yeah. So I appreciate you saying that about kindergarten, about the other kids, because it's absolutely true. And I'm blessed that our favorite nurse is going to be going to school with him. So he'll be in a traditional class at the school we want him at with the nurse, and it couldn't be better, right? Like,
I mean, you're going to have kids out there that are
mean.
It's
real.
It's the real world, you know, but I think that's awesome. That's an awesome move on your end, because as much as it is a win for Preston to be in that natural, like, traditional environment, I think it's more important for the kids around him.
I agree.
Because Preston is such a unique case, if you will.
Oh, 100%.
Or just a unique
case
kid, you know. You don't see kiddos like him every day. So it is something that kids aren't exposed to. And so when you give them the opportunity to be exposed to that, it's a learning thing. And it's, in my mind, especially at a young age, at kindergarten, those kids are what, 4 or 5 years old,
6,
you know, they aren't exposed to societal bullshit.
Correct.
Yet, typically.
Oh,
they are more, kiddos are going to fight, kiddos are going to bicker, but they're more willing to accept people's differences.
Correct.
At a very young age. So I think it's going to be good.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun to see him grow and develop. He's grown so much.
He's going to learn from those kids around him.
Oh, absolutely. And he did in preschool, but preschool's just a couple hours here.
Preschool's like controlled chaos.
Oh, uncontrolled chaos, maybe.
Kindergarten has a little more structure, you know what I mean? Like there's some rubrics, there's some substance.
Learning,
Yes.
And he knows a lot of what they teach in kindergarten already because we work with him so much. He just can't communicate. So now we just have to get him using his device to communicate, because he does have a device that if you press a button, it'll say the word for him. We just need to model it more, and that hasn't been my priority.
Right.
But going into kindergarten, that is the priority.
Yeah.
And so
where's he going to go? What school?
Sage Point.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't ask for
school.
better. Yeah. They'll pull out for like PT, OT, speech, and feeding therapy, but otherwise he'll be in the classroom.
That's awesome.
And we'll see if it doesn't work out, then we can reevaluate. But I don't know why it wouldn't. So.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be a great step for him.
Yeah.
Development wise.
Yeah.
Because kids soak up what other kids are doing. Like even the small things of like what. Having Cameron a week on, week off.
Oh, for sure.
And how much she plays with Oakley. We're seeing Oakley
leaps and bounds
on developing and doing skills and, and different things.
Well, even just from the car show to the cabin, Oakley's developed. Like, I mean, and that's not been but a month and some change, and I think Cameron being around.
She's such a good big sister.
Oh, I love
She's
that.
always wanted to have
a baby sister.
Yes.
Yeah. And Cameron is the sweetest.
Yeah.
I adore Cameron.
She's the best.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I mean, there was a lot. That's
a lot to unpack.
It's a hell of a story. I mean, it really is. Like to really truly hear, because I guess I've never heard it from start to finish.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I've
You've seen the
we're
pieces.
family, right? Like
Yeah.
I've seen you,
But the
like,
full thing at
yeah,
one
I didn't,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I thought he was born at 26 weeks, not 23.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's just, yeah, he's a blessing. He is a miracle, legitimately the definition of a walking miracle. And you know, he's just gonna, in my eyes, like, like from where he started, he's just gonna get better.
Yeah, I
You know what I
agree.
mean? Like there's gonna inevitably be setbacks.
Oh, for sure.
He's
no
always
question.
gonna have issues, but I think with every issue that he overcomes, it's like he almost gets better.
Yeah.
On the other side.
And I almost think, and it's funny because, you know, there's a lot of like stereotypes about autistic kids, and he's autistic. And I almost think him being autistic is probably better for him, because he's not going to understand those social cues that if someone's making fun of him or picking on him, like.
Well, I think I didn't know he was diagnosed autistic.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't. I don't know.
I guess with all his other medical stuff, autism is just a thing,
it's
you know?
Down.
Yeah, not important. Yeah. It's not life-threatening. But I do think for him, like, it does create a little bit of a shield for him.
Yeah.
Because if he is starting to understand, because he understands everything we're saying. If he, like, I don't want him to, you know, feel hurt, but he's going to. I can only protect him so much. But I think, you know, there's such a stigma around autism, but like then seeing it in action, it has been cool, because I didn't know a lot about autism until
they always say every child that has autism, they have some sort of special gift or talent.
Yes.
And I've seen it. I remember my mom's mom, my grandma Bert, she used to take care of autistic kids.
Oh, I didn't realize
way
that.
back. And there was this one kiddo, nonverbal, and he was older. He was like 15 or 16.
Okay.
Always walked on his tippy toes, but he could spin anything on his finger. I'm not kidding.
Oh.
Pots,
it
pans,
didn't matter
pillows,
what it was.
A bottle. You know, he could grab anything
Crazy.
and balance it and just spin it on his finger.
That's what Preston does, the heel walking, like on autistic
yeah, so
child,
it will
just
be
backwards.
And that's what they say.
Yeah, it'll
right?
be fun to see what his superpower is.
Yeah, that's what they say is like autistic kids have a superpower. They have a super talent, and they're just loving life. You know?
Next year at the cabin, I bet in this next year we figure out what Preston's is.
We'll see what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Like it's Well, anyways, I appreciate you coming on the
thanks for having me. I'm glad. We got to do this.
I'm glad we were able to do it. You know, and get you down here and stuff, and we're gonna continue to grow the channel and whatnot. And
I love you, and I am so proud of you. I know it's my interview, but I want you to know, Jeremy, like, I've seen you through it all, and always been there for you. Mm-hmm. You've always been there for me. But to see where you are today, to see what you've created, now he's gonna cry. To see what you've created, to see how far you've come, to see your beautiful wife by your side, your children, like, I could not be more proud of you. You have come from the darkest despair to get here, and you're creating an empire. And mark my words, you're creating an empire. And I'm so excited to see what this channel brings you, what your podcast brings you, and like the next steps. And we'll have to do another one when you're on episode 100.
Yeah. No,
I love you.
I love you too. It's been a journey, that's for sure. I always say that. Life's a story, you know, and that's why this podcast started, was to tell stories. And that was it. That was the goal, you know, and it started on a whim.
You're doing it.
You know, so. Oh,
well, thanks for having me.
I'm emotional as fuck. I swear to God, the older I get, the worse it gets.
It's true. And every kid makes you a little more emotional.
Just like my dad, I swear to God.
I know. But anyways, you're doing it. Be proud.
That's episode 7.
Love you guys.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Love
you. Peace.